Now, I'm going to share with you a strategy for pocket option that allows me to close more than 85% of my trades in profit. I'll show you all the entry points, all the indicators, and also the market traps you should avoid. So watch closely, and maybe after this video, you can take this strategy for yourself and get the same results. Let's get started. Let's take a look at a simple trade example together. How do you actually work with this strategy? Look, how do you use this strategy? It's actually really simple. We're going to enter right in this area. So when the price comes into this area, that's our entry point for either a buy or a sell. Honestly, this strategy is really very simple. We're only using one indicator, the right platform settings, the chart, and of course the indicator itself. We'll be basing our signals on our cloud, since the indicator is called the Ichimoku cloud, because this part here, which is made up of two other moving averages, actually forms the shape of the cloud for us. We'll use it to determine which direction to open a trade. And honestly, my win rate with this strategy is about 85% of trades. If you practice and learn, you can easily achieve 70% right from the start. After that, it's just a matter of time and practice. And naturally, you'll be able to improve your results. We'll also talk about situations you should skip, since they're undesirable and won't give you significant results. So pay close attention. This strategy is actually very easy to learn, and any beginner can master it. Let's jump right in and look at the entry points, and then I'll show you all the settings. Look, the very first thing you need to understand is that for convenience, you should add currency pairs to your favorites. This way, it'll be much easier to go through the sorted currency pairs and accordingly open trades on them. The second way, if you don't add currency pairs to your favorites, is to just scroll through them one by one, so to speak. This method also actually has its place, but here you'll have OTC currency pairs mixed in, and there won't be any sorting. But on the other hand, it's convenient in terms of selection. In general, choose the method that works best for you. Again, to add a currency pair to your favorites, you need to click on this little star. You add it to your favorites, and accordingly, it appears at the top for you. Look, here's an example right away. Alright, let's take a look at a live trade. Now we'll select a specific currency pair, open a trade on it, and break down how to actually use the entry point. Look, here's our example. By the way, everything works just as well on the OTC market, and on OTC we can even catch deeper moves. So if on the regular market the value of a typical trade is about 10 to 30 points, then on OTC we can take, roughly speaking, anywhere from 40 up to even 100 points in our favor, which is pretty safe. Look, how are we gonna work? First, we'll start from the cloud. Well, actually, not quite like that. If we rewind a bit further to analyze with 3 base in general, we need to find a movement, specifically an impulsive one. Next, after we've found such a movement, we need to figure out which direction the cloud is pointing, what color it is. If it's green, we'll open trades for buying. If it's red, we'll open trades for selling. Actually, you'll notice this right away, almost immediately as you observe the chart. First, you look and see there's a downward movement, a clear drop. Then there's an upward movement, a noticeable rise. So you'll immediately see what kind of movement is happening in the market. Also, the cloud will be red here at this point, and then later it turns green, indicating a change. You won't get confused with this either, as the color change is quite obvious. So we understand that here we have a cloud, right? But it's green, so we'll open a buy trade. Now, where exactly are we going to open this trade? We will open it at the moment when our candles come between these two lines. When our candles come here, when the price comes here, all the factors line up and we open a buy trade. This is the precise moment to act, ensuring all conditions are met before entering the trade. But again, only if we have this kind of movement, if we have a clearly defined cloud. If the cloud is moving like this, then we simply skip that setup process. Accordingly, if the cloud is moving broadly, that's where we'll work. I hope that's clear now. It'll be exactly the same with the downward movement. Let's look at an example. So for instance, we see this segment here. That's the one I'm interested in. We have a downward movement going on. We observe the cloud is red. So a red cloud, I understand that I need to open a sell trade. I wait until the price enters this cloud. And from there, I open my trade. That's it. I hope that's clear. This really is a simple strategy, but it does have a certain downside, which is that there are relatively few entry points, so it won't be constant. Still, it's a pretty safe method, so if you're a beginner or have been looking for a safe strategy for OTC, you can definitely go ahead and use it. Let's talk about the settings, and then about the nuances you shouldn't overlook in the strategy. Regarding the platform settings, look here. You log into the platform. First, you need to set Heikinashi candles, set 15-second candles, and make sure to display the time. Once you set all that up, now let's talk about the trade duration. Here, I recommend working with either 1 minute or 2 minutes. So set that up as well. Just choose what works best for you. If you like to trade pretty quickly, for example, then 1 minute is your option. If you prefer a safer approach, then choose 2 minutes for your time frame, set that specific time, and work with it carefully. Now, let's talk about the indicator settings. This is actually pretty simple and straightforward. We need the Ichimoku indicator for this strategy. Add it to your trading platform, and you'll immediately notice that its default settings are completely different from what we need. To set it up properly and get the most out of it, you need to go to our Telegram channel right now and grab the ready-made settings from there. I've shared my signature, personally tested settings with my subscribers, so head over there right now and get them for yourself. They're very easy to use, nothing complicated at all, but they give you maximum profit potential and, overall, the best possible results. The link to the Telegram channel will be waiting for you in the description below this video. Go there, grab the settings, and you'll be able to achieve the same safe and easy results as I do. Moving on, you should skip examples like this. If you see that the price is all tangled up and moving chaotically between our two blue lines, just skip that situation entirely. We're looking for clean, clear movement. So look, here we see several great examples. Here, the movement is excellent. We can work with this downward trend, such as the one we see here. We can also work with this upward movement in particular. We'll skip this small section here. And here, we had a good downward movement. So in this way, we have only 3 segments. We'll skip this segment. Everything that happened after that we'll skip as well. And before that, we also didn't have a very good segment. But here, we can work comfortably. So remember this formation, when the price is moving clearly down or up. We specifically set up Heikinashi candles so it's easier to see where the price is moving up and where it's moving down. We just skip all these other moments. So let's look at another example and reinforce everything with practice. If you also see that the price has broken through these 2 lines and has already gone into the cloud, you should skip those situations as well. So in other words, not every entry point will work and give you results. So here as well, we skip this kind of movement. Look, this is actually a pretty interesting situation. I'm gonna open a sell trade here, but a beginner might get confused in this scenario. The cloud is red, so that tells me I should open a sell trade. It might look like there was an upward movement here, but I'm looking at this impulse. So it clearly shows me that we have a downward movement going on. Plus, the price is moving between our 2 lines, so from here I can open a 1-minute sell trade. So how does this situation look from another perspective? We had a gray upward movement, we could have traded on it, there were plenty of entry points, but at some point the structure reversed and accordingly the price started to go down. Look, at one point we had almost 30 points, so it was a very confident and safe entry point. Let's wait until this trade closes. It brings me a solid profit of $1,100. And by the way, pay attention to this movement. This was a perfect example. So here we could have worked, but I probably missed this trade. Alright, let's put a question mark on it. Here we could have opened a trade, here we could have opened a trade, here we could have opened a trade, and here we could have opened a trade. So you see, we really have a lot of entry points. But then there was a reversal. So potentially there were, roughly speaking, 8 entry points here. And out of all of them, about 6 were definitely profitable. 1 is questionable, and 1 was probably a loss. If we had entered right here, then we wouldn't have entered again after that. So roughly speaking, we have 8 trades. 6 of them are profitable, 1 is a loss, and 1 is questionable. If you had entered, it would have been a loss. If you hadn't, there would have been 7 trades. As you can see, this is just from 1 movement, and all of this happened in 50 minutes. So in such a short period, we could have opened 8 trades and accordingly made a profit. Just a reminder, you can get the settings for this indicator right now in our Telegram channel. So go ahead, grab it, and you'll be able to replicate my results. This strategy works pretty well. I recommend that beginners at least give it a try, and then you'll see for yourself whether you can work with it or not. Anyway, I'll leave all the useful links in the description. That's all from me for now. See you in the next videos.